Today's episode, we're going to be talking about disability. If you have a disability or if someone that you know has a disability, how to stay motivated and how to stay motivated yourself, how to motivate the people. So stay tuned for that.
You are listening to Unboxing the Truth podcast, only the greatest and the best podcast in the world, brought to you by George Carrillo.
And so then there was I, just talking to that person, telling them exactly what to do. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know nothing else to do. Who was fucking crying on the fucking floor? So what else would I have to say? I remember I said, you could do whatever you fucking want to do.
All right. So first of all, like every episode, we're going to be saying, fuck Monday, Monday mentality. We got to stay motivated throughout the week. Let's have a great week. Let's start this off. Today, we actually have a great guest. My beautiful girlfriend, Crystal. She's going to be on the show today. This is going to be a great time. We're going to be talking about disability, like I said. So, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be kind of hard to talk about, I don't want to kind of start any controversial things, but let's get started. So, let's get the cue music out. All right. So, without further ado, let's bring Crystal in so she could say hi. Hi, Crystal.
Hi.
Yeah, she's a little shy at first, so, we just have to kind of motivate her. So let's kind of put people in here, Okay, yeah. Yeah, we're using, obviously, top-notch technology here to stay motivated and to keep the show running. We record this live on Raw, so you could say bad words, Crystal. Don't be scared.
I'd rather not.
Yes, she'd rather not. But I do want to just bring in this. I know there's, about 8-7 weeks more until we could kind of bring in this type of joy into the show. You like that music, Crystal? All right. Yeah, she doesn't like Christmas. She doesn't like Christmas at all. So.
Oh, well, I do, but I prefer Halloween.
Yeah, she's more of a dark person. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. But yeah. All right, so let's get this started, Crystal here does have experience with working with people with disability. She does have family members. I don't know if she wants to put that out there, but she does have family or close love people in her life that has disability. But I think in general, we all have a disability, just like myself. I think I have a speech impairment, I think it's called. I do have, what is that called?
ADHD?
Well, no, dyslexia too. So sometimes when I'm reading or writing or talking, my mind thinks a little bit faster than my speech or my motor skills do. So but I do want to bring in the general definition of disability. I kind of disagree with some of it says, but we'll see. So a disability, according to Google, it's a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movements, senses, or activity. Now, another part, it does say a disadvantage or handicap. Now, I don't like using the word disadvantage because just because you have a disability, it doesn't mean that you're disadvantaged. It could mean that you are an advantage in a different thing. So, but obviously in today's general population, we think it's a bad thing because you can't talk. But what if you could communicate better in different areas, better than people that could talk? Do you agree with that, Crystal?
Oh, fully agree.
So yeah, man, for the people listening to, if you guys have a disability or know that someone that have disability, I know it could be sometimes difficult to kind of do normal things. Normal doesn't really mean, well, when we think about normal, we think about social.
I would say unique.
True. Because when you talk about normal, sometimes you think about the idea like the social norms, right?
Yeah.
It's like being normal and like, well, what are the social norms? Talk about normal. Like, what does it mean? Like, well, according to the media.
To be honest, I don't even know what it means to be normal anymore.
Well, what do they say?
I guess communication skills, being able to in society, like let's say, I guess reading expressions. Like if you're sad, if you're mad, there's some disabilities that you can't. Like in autism, you can't really. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
It's okay to be nervous. I think, which is nice, kind of talking to a mic or talking, even though we don't see the audience or the people that we're talking to, it's kind of weird at first because you don't know who you're talking to. So in other words, you're kind of talking to yourself, or you're just talking to me, really.
Well, if I'm talking to you, I'm pretty sure I can do better.
But it's very difficult. A lot of people don't know that when you're doing it by yourself, it's kind of like you have to put your imagination into it. But yeah, so yeah, the social norms, so the media, corporate media, they think about normal, such as, kind of what they want, whatever they say or whatever the celebrities say, it's pretty much what the normal means, the social norms, the norm. That's the norm, the normal. So like, let's just say corporate media or celebrities start talking about how having a twisted eye or whatever, I don't know, like a weird looking eye, and just because they're saying it and they started to put it out there, now that means you're normal, which is crazy. I mean, they just have so much influence towards the people, right, of the world. So that's kind of a normal. So that's why when I talk about having a disadvantage, I don't like that, because like, what if having a twisted eye is normal, or having a perfect eye is normal? I mean, I believe we all have that lazy eye, But anyways, kind of let's move this forward, motivation. So let's talk about me, or let's talk about you, the person listening to right now, or even Crystal. We all, like I said in the beginning, we all might have this type of disability. Well, we have a disability no matter what, if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think my mind thinking faster than my physical self, I don't know, like it could be a good thing or a bad thing. Sometimes, like when I'm talking right now, I'm already thinking 2 steps ahead of what I want to say. So that's why I kind of get lost. So I apologize for that. But think about, what is it that you not necessarily lack, but something that you struggle, right? So for me, like, it's talking with people. Sometimes, like I said, I think about it faster. Or when I'm reading, I start to kind of imagine things ahead of it, so the foreshadowing in it. So yeah, it sucks, but at the same time, it keeps me motivated, because I know I could kind of like, I wouldn't say predict the future, but it feels that way, right? So it kind of like keeps me there, so it's nice. But so you, Crystal, I'm a little
bit different, of course. You can see that. I mean,
but
I'm
what
a
is
little bit
like
slower.
what is, if you would say not necessarily a disability, but something that you're, according to corporate media, you're a disadvantage of?
Well, my mind is working faster than what I'm saying, because I mean, clearly I'm not 2 steps ahead as you, so it's taken me a while for me to say what I really mean to say.
Now, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. Sometimes it's a bad thing, because sometimes people don't understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah. So now, with knowing that, what do you do in your daily life to help you not to become at a disadvantage, like according to the definition?
I usually ask people if they understand me. I'm like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? And if they don't, then I try to explain it a little bit more,
right,
because sometimes the words that come out of my mouth aren't clear.
True.
So that's a problem. Or sometimes I just talk way too fast and I get off topic, usually when we have conversations.
So for someone listening to right now, to us, someone that has something similar. Now, just remember, as a disclaimer, we're not saying that that's a disability. Obviously, there's other conditions that are far more severe that we might talk about later in the show. Well, at least later in this episode. But I think, I don't really like saying someone disabled, but I think we all have flaws. I think that's more of a proper term to use. So if anyone's being offended, I'm sorry, whatever. But fuck it. That's why it's a raw podcast. It's unfiltered. So if you're listening to, make sure that, hey man, take whatever it is. We have our opinions. We have your opinions as well. So, but yeah. So Crystal, going back to the idea of you telling these people that have similar things like we do, that our mind thinks faster than what we want to say. So sometimes when we're trying to communicate with the other person or the other party, it's kind of difficult for us to understand if they're understanding, or they may be like, well, what do you mean? Da, da, da. So what is something that someone is, let's just think about a person that's listening to right now and that hasn't really figured out and is still shy and it's not trying to be social, that they're having a difficulty if they haven't really figured out that they know that they have that, or even if they do, or what is an advice that you could give?
Wow, that's a lot. You said a lot right now. Well, an example of like communication would be like how I take care of a 40-year-old woman with autism. She can't really communicate at all. She's nonverbal, so the way she communicates is she'll make sounds, certain sounds. Let's say some sounds are aggressive, some sounds are a little bit more mellow. It all depends on her expressions, the sound, and what she's doing physically. Like if she's hitting herself, she's frustrated. If she's pulling me to the kitchen, she's hungry. So sometimes that's a form of communication. So sometimes you don't have to really talk in order to communicate. Sometimes it's just your expressions or the way. Yeah.
So this woman, what is one thing that you see that she's really good at, that she could probably either she's good at or she could be potentially good at?
How so? Like, I guess her
Really in
communication
general.
skills.
Well,
Cause she.
yeah, I mean, since you did bring in the idea that she's nonverbal, so that's one barrier that she has. So, with that, and also to having autism, what is something that, as far as in communication, is really good at?
Well, she's really good at telling me when she's hungry and everything. I mean, she pulls you. She's really smart. She'll listen to you. Like if you tell her to, because with people who have autism, sometimes you have to be consistent with them.
Okay.
I guess it depends on the severity, because since hers is pretty severe, she takes medication. She has to. She's nonverbal, so it's really hard to communicate again.
Right.
But she knows, right? Like she knows when I tell her, okay, the food's ready, she'll eat. She knows when she has to use the restroom. She knows. She's just really smart. She's really smart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
All right. So let's kind of move on. So just to recap, as far as what we've been talking about, like I said, I think we all have some type of barrier in our life that affects our daily, what would you say, daily
life?
Yeah, our daily life kind of thing. So, we want to do, say, going to work, even the idea of you don't like using the GPS and you get lost, so something basic as that, or a communication barrier, or if you do have a disability, but something not so severe that you are still able to do things, you're still able to work, you're still able to go to school, just so, now it's crazy though, there's a lot of people with disabilities that are doing some crazy things in this world, in this life. And obviously there's Stephen Hawking, that's one of the most, according to the world, I never really have met him, but he's one of the most he's one of the smartest people in the world, which is crazy, right? Because sure, the position that he's in, you would never thought that. So like, if let's just say we do have aliens coming in from Earth, from another from the stars, from another galaxy or whatever, and they look at Steve Hawkins and they're like, what the fuck is this shit, Or if it'd be crazy, because if that's the first person they see, right, when they land here, they might think we all look like that, right? Okay. So now they're normal. It's like, okay, humans look like that. They're in a chair and they talk through this, device. Yeah. So it's pretty actually cool the way his device. I believe he also designed it, which is pretty cool the way he talks and how he brings the animation, the audio animation in. But yeah, just think about that. Like aliens coming in, they seen that, now they think the norm, and then now they look at someone normal, right? In our point of view, that doesn't have anything, it's perfect, it's like the Ken doll, whatever. And now they look at that and they're like, what's wrong with him? Yeah. But obviously, no matter what, don't let it affect you. I think that's one thing that I do want to let you guys know. So me, I hate when it comes to communication, I suck at it. And so if you're listening to us right now and you have something, speech something to do with speech, or you can't communicate correctly, whatever, don't be afraid of it. just understand it, accept it, move forward. If people look at you weird, or they're like, man, you don't know how to talk, man, or you don't know how to write, and you know what, you keep moving forward. Continue doing what you want to do. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid, or because they're judging you a certain way. Take that as a good thing, man. What if you're able to communicate way better than those people that don't have any issues? There's a lot of people in the world that do a lot of TED Talks, right, that they speak so perfectly, but yet when it comes to their lives, they're miserable. They're doing things that they don't really like to do. They're really more realistic, like a tool, right?
Yeah.
So it's like versus someone that now, one person that one of my idols, or kind of like role models, is how was his name? Elon Musk, right? He's a genius as well, CEO of SpaceX. But when he talks, he's not the best, talker. But obviously he has done some crazy things for this world, obviously for this country as well. But it's crazy, So to kind of move forward with the idea of, oh man, I kind of lost a thought there. But moving forward with, since Crystal does have more experience working with people with, more severe,
or even like without severe autism, sometimes people with just like mild autism they find they're really interested in something. Like, let's say the person who has autism is interested in cutting hair. That becomes something like they're passionate about, and sometimes they're really passionate about something like that. And so it's a disability. They say it's a disability, but I mean, for somebody to be passionate about something, I don't think it's a disability.
That's true. I mean, I think that's something that we lack when we want to do something, taking the first step is the hardest thing, but if you do have the passion, so let's just say you want to be a doctor. Well, your parents tell you to be a doctor, but you hate it.
Oh.
You like writing, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you like writing, and so your parents like, no, you're not gonna be a writer. Da da da. You gotta be a doctor, because obviously that's gonna be you're becoming a professional. Da da da. But you love writing, and so your passion is in writing, but now you're being a doctor, right? So you're whatever. Or if we cut that idea and just put it to the idea where you are a writer, you want to do writing, but you're scared of something, or even if you're doing writing and you're not getting the results, right? You're still not, you're not being published, or people don't like it, or, obviously because you have shown it to certain people and they're like, oh no, it's okay, da da da. But I think if you have passion towards an idea or what you're good at, right? For our example, as a writer, if you're good at it and you love it, you have the passion for it. If you continue, obviously you're going to be successful, because remember in the earlier episodes I talked about, at least in my idea, success is doing something that you love to do so if you now are doing something that you love to do and you're going to push on for the rest of life, that's kind of success, because you're doing something that you love to do, right? So when it comes to the idea of having passion, if you have passion doing what you want to do, you're going to go far with it. It doesn't matter, Even if you just sold 2 copies, 3 copies of your book that you write. But, the dedication and the energy that goes into what you want to do, hey, man,
Sorry, I was going to interrupt you earlier, but I left you talking.
That's okay.
No, it's because when you brought up the whole doctor thing, I started to think about the whole doctor and autism thing, the show I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Good Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good show. It has to do with like he's what do you call those people who go into surgery? Surgeons.
Yeah,
Sorry.
surgeons.
Yeah. He becomes a surgeon, and he has autism, and so everybody's just skeptical about it, because this guy, he has autism, and he wants to be a doctor. So, some of the episodes, he faces challenges since he has autism. There's certain things that trigger him. And so even he has all these things going on in his head, but he's not able to communicate with others, and they don't really understand him because his disability. Mm-hmm. But later on, one of his coworkers, she's able to understand him slowly, like what triggers him and everything, and he's really, really smart. So Yeah, this show is really good to watch. I really enjoyed it. It made me tear up a few times, just some of the stuff, that goes on. But yeah, it's
Yeah, there you go. So that's another great example of how it might be fiction, but there might be some true. I'm pretty sure there's a surgeon out there that does have autism,
yeah, of course.
You know?
I mean, I don't think it really is considered fiction, because I mean, some of these stories and everything like that have to go out into the world, right?
True. But yeah, I mean, it's just a different perspective. Obviously, from the times before, from the times where girls, right, they weren't like, it's kind of hard to talk about, but from the old days to now, our perspective has been changing. Our psychological.
Wait, what do you mean by girls? Where are you going into?
Well, I mean, I'm talking about like from the old days where. From the idea, I mean, back in the day, when girls were like, oh, girls aren't only supposed to do this and do that, or they don't have, voice in government,
Sexism,
etc., whatever.
Just...
Well, I mean, it's just the old days. I'm just trying to put
Okay.
the idea of the old days, right? So it's like from the old days, or even back from the Egyptians, or even back from the cave days. I mean, if you go back in the day from day one, trying to show them an iPad, they're gonna freak out. We're gonna freak out, and they're gonna think that you're a witch or some shit,
Okay.
But the idea, what I'm trying to get at is, I think as we move on forward, we're as a society or as a united world of just being human instead of thinking about color, religion, age, or whatever the fuck. It's like we have to just our scope of viewing things, so our perspective is changing, and so yeah. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like. What's really nice is that we're going into a world where even having a disability, I don't know, sorry, this is how this is all not script, but man, it's kind of hard to think about. I know I'm imagining it, right?
No
but I can't,
worries, yeah.
I can't, I can't put it into words. But it's just crazy that we're getting into an age now where, someone with autism could do something extraordinary, What if a person with autism could one day go to the moon,
Mm-hmm.
And so a good example, or a good story, there is a lot of people, when we barely started to explore the world, right, to go overseas and go, see what is out there. Now, at the time, they couldn't take children, they couldn't take, at the time, they couldn't even take women because they were just like, it's too dangerous. We don't know, they might die, and obviously we're trying to conserve the future, right? But we got to a point where we made it not so dangerous, and so now we're traveling through the fucking world, and so today, moving on with the future, going on an airplane, only certain people go to airplane, kids, and certain people with disabilities or women. Only trained professionals could fly because it was still experimental phase,
Mm-hmm.
But now everyone flies, even people with disability, kids, babies, animals. And so I could just imagine what, obviously our next step is to go out there, right, in space. So right now, obviously only trained professionals, aka astronauts, could go out to space, But obviously we can't take children because last time I was seeing in a video from NASA, and there was kids from my high school talking to astronauts, and one of the things that one of the girls said, she was a freshman in high school, she asked the astronaut, she said, well, now that we're moving forward with sending civilians out to space, will there be a time when we could send, kids could go up there? And so the astronaut, she's like, well, yeah, and he just tells her what I just talked about, how early exploration was dangerous, and so we're kind of in that position,
That's cool. I didn't know that.
So it's pretty cool. It's like, yeah, at that time, right now, it's still too dangerous. We don't really understand it. That's what he really meant,
Yeah.
We don't understand it yet. We're doing things out there, but it's still experimental, so it's very dangerous. We don't want to be the cause of a 10-year-old dying in space because of something either he or she did. Or something dumb that, well, not necessarily dumb, but something, a human error, but moving forward, someday we will see that, someone with autism going to space, which is crazy. But that's just, I think that's one thing was really beautiful about us being human, moving forward. We're always curious. We always want to see what's on the other side. When you see that wet paint sign on the wall, you want to touch it, But at the end of the day, part of what you need to take out on this episode is that doesn't matter if you think it's a disadvantage or if the people out there think it's a disadvantage. It might be an advantage towards something else, like I said, some of the great things that have came out in this world today are from people with disabilities.
Well, have you heard about the one with have you heard about the person who has Down syndrome? Like, she's a model now? No? Before, I guess going to the past and everything, how, people with disabilities were treated. Now in today's society, it's becoming a norm. Mm-hmm. But, of course, some people are a little bit either ignorant or they just don't know a whole lot of information about it. But on the news, they're putting more, more out there for children who have disabilities or people who have disabilities that, there's this girl with Down syndrome, and now she's a model. She turned into a model. She's becoming that face for other children who have Down syndrome, so they can be inspired as well. And I feel like it's motivating and inspiring because, there might be some other children out there who feel like, just because I have Down syndrome, I can't do anything. But that's not the case, because they can do anything they put their mind to. This girl who has Down syndrome, she's a model now. So,
True.
Or even
True.
Another person who has Down syndrome who owns his own, restaurant and everything. And it's, wow, not even me.
No, yeah, so, just really think about it, just because, yeah, man, you just gotta motivate the people out there. I do hate seeing people, seeing other people with disabilities, like when you go to the store, and they see, someone, obviously, with disability, and they just look at them like, there's something else. They're not really, human, which is kind of, messed up.
I get those looks when I take Stacy.
Which is kind of messed up, We have to kind of be like, what if the next that person that you're seeing there at the store might be the next astronaut, you never know. Or that person that you just made fun of, he's probably 13, 14, might one day be your boss, right? Which is crazy in today's world. So anything is possible now. But yeah, you just gotta stay motivated and stay humble. I think that's important. But as far as unboxing the truth about yourself, think about it. That's one thing that's a nice assignment that I want you to do today. Go back home or on your way to work or even at work. Think about something that you think that is challenging, or one thing that you have a challenge doing, and look at that. Don't look at it as a negative thing. Yeah, it might be a flaw, but think about it and think about how you're able to then surpass it, how you're able to push yourself and show people that just because you have that disadvantage towards other people, it doesn't matter, who cares? Yeah, man, I'm a Latino. Writing this, doing this podcast. A lot of people out there that are like, look at that little Mexican dude, what is he doing? What is he talking about? He doesn't know shit. Yeah, I don't know shit, but at least I'm doing what I like to do. Versus people that are out there doing dumb shit, getting money, yeah, but, they hate it. But, yeah, yeah, you don't have anything else to say?
I think I'm good.
She says she thinks she's good. So, let's kind of cue the music. Let's move forward. Let's stay motivated. It's going to be another great week. So, let's do what we need to do. Stay humble, man. Disability is crazy shit. But, hey, the norm is pretty much the norm should be us doing what we want to do, right? So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But other than that, let's cue the music. Let's move forward, Yeah, Crystal. How do you feel on your first episode here?
Shy.
She's so shy. I was kind of a little lost too because I haven't done an episode with actual someone, so it's kind of crazy. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can send all your questions to the email info@unboxingthetruth.biz. That's biz. Or we do have our Instagram now. It's officially up. You can just search it, Unboxing the Truth, and you see the little beautiful flower there. You know, you gotta follow us. We're gonna be sending out daily quotes. We're on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, right before the show. The episode comes out at noon. You know, release a quick quote. You know, to kind of kickstart your day. But other than that, thank you guys for listening. Another great time. Yeah, pretty much. Say bye, Crystal.
Bye. 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 Bye.